pop culture with DJ and graffiti art are expressed every day within the inner cities of America and the world. You are not doing hip-hop, you are hip-hop.
Oh man, let me tell you. Yes, the throat is kind of on the raspy side. You know, when you do a lot of talking, eventually it catches up with you. Eventually. And I don't have any lemon tea, but I do have my water. So it's going to keep me where I need to be today. So let me get into our topic immediately. Because, you know, there are just some things that you recognize that you say to yourself, how did we get here? I keep asking myself, how we get here? Because I'm not fully understanding. But I want to talk about women. Surprise, surprise. And specifically pregnant women and the mortality rates for women. Now, everybody, and I say this, and I know it is said with an attitude, but everybody loves the pregnant woman. She is glowing. She is beautiful. Everybody's so happy-go-lucky. You would think that there was some real care and concern for the mother. You would think by the way that they talk about pregnant women and how they want to protect pregnant women, and you just really believe that there was a lot of care and concern for the mother. And, you know, that's not necessarily the case. And so I want to talk to you about the maternal mortality ratio. I want to start there first. Let me go with that. I'm going to give you some information. Then I'm going to get into my topic. So let me start with this, that the maternal mortality ratio is a key public health indicator that measures the number of maternal deaths per 100,000 live births within a specific time period, usually a year. Now, what counts as a maternal death? Well, it could be the death of a woman while pregnant or within 42 days of the end of pregnancy. It could come from any cause related to or aggravated by the pregnancy or its management, but not from accidental or incidental causes like car accidents or unrelated illnesses. Why does all this matter? Because it reflects the quality of a healthcare system, especially for women. And if there is a high mortality, I guess I should say maternal mortality ratio. There we go. It often indicates inequities in access to care, socioeconomic disparities, and systemic issues in maternal health services. That's what it starts with. Now, I am in Texas. Okay. And Texas is known for some things. It's known for some things, not always the good things. Are there some positives in Texas? Yes, because I'm still here. So there's clearly some positives in Texas. But there is also so much that needs to be adjusted. And let me also say this. We're a testing ground. Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Oklahoma. We are a testing ground for ridiculousness, right? And I should say policies that want to keep women as the second-class citizens that we are. Like, there is no bodily autonomy. Like, that doesn't exist. So when it comes to Texas and women's reproductive health care rights, oh, yes. All right. So let me get into the Texas method. Now, Texas has, like a lot of states, they've been recording the maternal mortality rates for a very long time. But in 2012, Texas moved to a more accurately way of identifying maternal death, and it's often referred to as the Texas method. So there's a four-step process, right? So there's a vital records review. That's an initial identification of potential maternal death using death certificates. Then there is the linkage with birth and fetal death records. That's to confirm pregnancy status at or near the time of death. Then they also look at the medical record review. That's an in-depth examination of clinical records to determine pregnancy relatedness and contributing factors. And then they leave it with the committee review. So there's a final classification and analysis by the Texas Maternal Mortality and Morbidity Review Committee. We'll say all of that, which includes medical experts and public health professionals. Now, they moved to this method for a couple of reasons. One, they were missing some women. They were missing it just because if you just go by data alone, there were women who were being missed. And when they adjusted their methodology of counting, they found in 2012 alone 29 additional maternal deaths. Okay. So there's some work to be done there. Now, this is updated annually, so it's there. But can we talk about the numbers? Because I have to talk about the numbers. Let's look at them, okay? Oh my. So we're looking at maternal mortality rates in Texas by ethnicity. And this chart reveals a stark truth about what's going on when it comes to women's healthcare. Now, let me do this really quick. We keep talking about the disparities in a variety of areas of life. And people act as if we are one size fits all. I myself have not experienced one of my doctors telling me that what I'm experiencing is not real. I don't know if I don't want to call it luck, or I've just been kind of picky with my doctors. I mean, I picked one doctor because the name was Dixie, and I was thinking Dixie Clooney from All My Children, and he was Dixie, a man, an old white man. But he was a really good doctor, though. He was a really good doctor. And whatever I shared, he took it for exactly what it was. Whereas when you look at some other women, and there are a number of stories across the board when Black women go in and share their issues with their doctor, when they share what's happening with them, it is overlooked. Some doctors and nurses say that they're just feigning this pain, that they're Black women, they can handle the pain. So there's a lot that goes on in the healthcare arena when it comes to Black bodies. Having said all that, let me go back to my charts. All right, so let's talk about the maternal mortality rates in Texas by ethnicity. You can see that there's a lot that happens with Black mothers. Next in line are Hispanic, and then there are white, non-Hispanic, and then there's other. So, Texas has some work to do. This one is from 2024. Nope, take it back. This is from 2023. And we actually did another collection of numbers over a 10-year span. We'll show you that one next. But Black women consistently have the highest maternal mortality rates in Texas. Hispanic women have lower rates than Black women, but they still face disparities, especially related to access to care and social determinants of health. White women generally have the lowest maternal mortality rates among the major racial ethnic groups. And then that's your Asian, Native American, and multiracial women. And their rates vary, but are generally lower than those of Black women. There is this disproportionate share of maternal death when it comes to Black women. And we look at the systemic factors such as racism, bias in healthcare, lack of access to quality care. All of these are identified as contributing factors. And so I was mentioning the chart that goes from 2012 to 2023, because 2024 has not been compiled yet. You can look at the numbers and you can see how it is out of whack. It is way out of whack. Some of the things that we can take from this 10-year span, or a little bit less than 10-year span. But Black women, again, consistently experience high maternal mortality rates over the past decade. They are 2 to 3 times higher than those of white non-Hispanic women. Now, there are some improvements around 2014, as you see that the numbers do go down, but they are on the rise again across all the groups. Across all the groups are on the rise again. So we're looking at systemic issues in relation to maternal health care. It affects all ethnicities, although it's not affecting them equally. And these disparities is not just medical, but we're looking at, again, access to care, income, education, and systemic racism. And Black women, again, often face implicit bias in healthcare settings that lead to delayed diagnoses and inadequate treatment. We got a story about that. We'll be talking about that. Then we got to talk about the policy and advocacy, because this data underscores the need for targeted public health interventions, including culturally competent care, expanded Medicaid coverage, and community-based maternal support systems. Now, as I said before, Texas moved to a more enhanced methodology to capture all of the women that have problems with pregnancy and unfortunately end up dying. Because these are real people here. These dots on this chart, these are real people. It's not just numbers. There is a mother and a child that died here. Or it could be a mother that died after childbirth or before. These are real women here that were impacted. So can I talk about Texas? Can we talk about it? Because again, everybody talks about how reproductive health care is just, women don't need this, women don't need that. And these are men. Now, we talked last week or before that there are women who like to downplay what we deal with, but the people who are making a lot of these policies are men, supported by women. And I just want to talk today about my state specifically, because the Texas GOP, it hates women. In case you didn't know, you're going to learn today. Hello, it's Gwendolyn. Well, Gwendolyn GR Houston Jack, and you are watching Girl, Listen. And it's Friday. It is Friday. I'm feeling like there's like some hair on my face. I know, right? It is Friday. And this is streaming to LinkedIn, is streaming to YouTube. And if you want a better experience, YouTube is where it's at. So I cordially invite you to come over to YouTube, watch Girl Listen on the GR Houston Jack YouTube channel, and get into the interactive chats. It's just better over here, if I may say so myself. And while you're here, you can like the video and also subscribe to the channel. So just, what can I tell you? But before I get back into my conversation, and this will be that one, I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now. I do want to say that if you can't watch here on video, we are out there on Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and also there is a replay of Girl Listen on Indie Soup Media. And having mentioned Indie Soup Media, yes, it's time for That G is Fire Fridays. We're going to start here with this show and then roll over to Indie Soup Media and watch a replay of Girl Listen. And we are also in our repeat session for Ladies Listen Up. So it's all going down on Indie Soup Media at 6 p.m. Eastern. Nope. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. There you go. I had to get all my time zones together. But like I mentioned, the Texas GOP hates women. The Texas GOP hates women. Okay, I know you guys like, Gwendolyn, seriously? Yeah, seriously. I said it. I sure did. And I'm going to stand on it. So let me tell you real quick. I'm going to pick out just the one. Because if you go digging for all the reasons why, I don't have enough time here. Like I don't have all the time. This will be longer than 30 minutes, but I don't have all that time. So let me tell you about the Senate Bill 2880. Okay. It has not passed yet, but let me not. So it's also known as the Women and Child Protection Act. It is a proposed law that significantly expands the scope of abortion-related restrictions in this state. Now, let me give you the quick overview of it, and I want you to pay attention to the words. So first of all, it would create civil and criminal penalties. This bill introduces civil liability and criminal penalties for individuals and organizations that assist in obtaining or facilitating an elective abortion, including providing financial support, arranging travel or lodging, offering child care or doula services, and distributing abortion-inducing drugs. I'm sorry, did you say the doula services, child care? Yeah. Okay, let me go back. This would also target abortion assistance organizations. So it defines an abortion assistance organization as an entity that helps someone obtain an abortion, even if the procedure occurs outside of Texas. These organizations could face lawsuits and penalties under this bill. This would also give, again, the private right of action. So this is similar to Senate Bill 8, that was from 2021. This allows private citizens to sue individuals or organizations that violate the law, creating a civil enforcement mechanism. It would also regulate online content. The bill includes language aimed at information content providers, potentially targeting websites or platforms that share information about how to access abortion services or medication. Now, this is where the critics come in. And then just in case you didn't know, yes, Gwendolyn is a critic. How could you not tell? Because I don't understand how Susie Q or Bobby B across the street can be in my business, all up in the cooch, right? And not know anything about my health or what's impacting me, and decide that I'm going to be the person to sue her because she needs a certain procedure to save her life. Yeah, I am a critic of that. I am a critic of that. Hands down. And let me also say this really quick. I love how things are phrased. That this is the Women and Child Protection Act. However, if you were to ever research incest in the United States, there are a number of states that still allow it. Now, there are consequences, but it could be like maybe a year, maybe. And we know that a number of states do not allow abortions when it comes to rape or incest. So I want to step back, because we talk about protecting a kid and the sanctity of life, but yet and still you make it seem like incest is just a rite of passage. Like that little girl, well, she's old enough to bring a child into this world. Her body's ready for that. Her mental state, her emotional state is all ready for that. Because the child she's carrying, that's all I care about. I don't really care about her. Her life is like whatever. You know what? Let me stay on task. Gwendolyn. Don't. All right, let's talk about these, what the critics argue. It will chill free speech by targeting online information sharing. It's criminalizing supporting networks that help women access legal abortions in other states. It also will further limit access to reproductive health care, especially for low-income and marginalized communities. Now, the supporters claim that it strengthens enforcement of Texas abortion laws and protects unborn children. Now, it does strengthen that law. Yes, that is real. Does it protect unborn children? Let me tell you real quick. These people are not pro-life. You're not. Because if you're about pro-life, you wouldn't have kids who don't have food to eat. You wouldn't make those kids feel awful in school because they don't have money to get lunch or breakfast. And you definitely wouldn't cut off funding for food banks that were helping feeding those families and those kids. If you were about pro-life. If we're about pro-life, we would actually do things to strengthen public education, make sure kids have a path to a prosperous life, whatever that is for them. We would have access. But you know what? Yeah, because it's about the unborn child. Once the kid is here, ain't nobody worried about them kids. Ain't nobody studying them kids. It's like not even a concern or a conversation. They ain't worried about them chilling. Okay, now let's talk about the reproductive health care for women in Texas really quick. So the current legislation, what's it called? Class, whatever. They just did their thing, right? Just ended. And after at least 3 women died as a result of being denied medically necessary abortions, let me get that right. Lawmakers approved a narrow clarification of the state's near total abortion ban. The new law does not expand abortion access, but it aims to empower doctors to perform life-saving abortions, even if death is not imminent. It also requires doctors and lawyers to take continuing education classes on the nuances of the law. Lawmakers also banned cities from paying for out-of-state abortion travel, although a more significant anti-abortion bill cracking down on pills failed to make it out of the House committee this time around. I'm going to say it again. When you create policies that are against people just doing their job, which is to do no harm and save lives, then they have to start thinking, what am I supposed to do? They would rather err on the side of caution and not do anything. So now you have mothers who are dying in the damn street. But it's about the unborn kid, right? Like, you're trying to protect me because I don't know any better, clearly. So after all of that, during this last session, that's the fancy word I was looking for, a session, during this last session that they just wrapped up. May? They had to cover this. They had to make some enhancements. Say, let me tell you what this law means, because we can't have women dying in the street. Well, if you would just stay out of our business, that would be helpful, because what we don't need are grown men telling grown women what to do with their bodies. I don't need that. I don't need you for that, partner. I don't need government there. I need clean water. I need better roads, property taxes, education, things like that. I don't need you in this place. But let me tell you how good it gets, y'all, because, again, you can't make up this stuff. But there was a lady who had, I think, a self-managed abortion. And a Texas cop used 83,000 automatic license plate reader cameras to find her. Now, according to these people, her family was concerned about her well-being. I'm going to call BS on that, but who am I? Who am I to say that was there or that it wasn't there? But I am calling BS on it, right? So she got an abortion. So a Texas cop tracked her down. This is from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. So if you want to go out and read it, you can go read it yourself. But in a chilling sign of how far law enforcement surveillance has encroached on personal liberties, 404 Media recently revealed that a sheriff's office in Texas searched data for more than 83,000 automated license plate readers cameras to track down a woman suspected of self-managing an abortion. The officers searched 6,809 different camera networks maintained by surveillance tech company Flock Safety, including states where abortion access is protected by law, such as Washington and Illinois. The search record listed the reason plainly as had an abortion, search for female, because clearly he got tons of time on his hands. Now, after the U.S. Supreme Court 2022 Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization decision overturned Roe v. Wade, states were given sweeping authority to ban and even criminalize abortion. And in Texas, where the officer who did this search is based, abortion is now almost entirely banned. But in Washington and Illinois, where many of the search flock cameras are located, abortion remains legal and protected as a fundamental right up to fetal viability. Now, this has changed a lot of things, right? Because you got law enforcement searching license plates and all the things. But here's the concern that the mass surveillance infrastructure, originally sold as a tool to find stolen cars or missing persons, is now being used to target people seeking reproductive health care. This unchecked, warrantless access that allows law enforcement to surveil across the state lines blurs the line between protection and persecution. So we're no longer looking for missing cars. They are now looking at monitoring bodies. We already know that there are hot lists of license plates for people to track real time for those who go to abortion clinics, those who help out at abortion clinics. This is a serious threat. A serious threat, and it is compounded by how investigations often begin. A report published by If, When, How on the criminalization of self-managed abortion found that about a quarter of adult cases were reported to law enforcement by acquaintances entrusted with information. So family, friends, parents, intimate partners, another 18% went through other. That means that with these automatic license plate readers, a tip from anyone can instantly escalate to a nationwide manhunt. Y'all, let me tell you, we need to think about some things, right? Because here you are asking law enforcement to help you find your car. They have access to cameras that can easily do that. But clearly that is not today's concern. Today's concern is, and again, according to the sheriff, he said the family called, they were concerned about her health, blah, blah, blah. I don't know about all that. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that brand of bread. I'm not buying it. Because you went through 83,000 cameras. You searched over 6,000 license plates to find this woman. Really? Was it really that serious? With all the things happening, think about the number of missing teens. I think about when I drive on the highway, silver alerts, amber alerts, all these alerts are going on. You had time for this? This is where it starts. I shouldn't say it has already begun. This is where we are. Because if you don't have checks and balances on how information is shared, and I will say this, in that article, they talked about how California was called out for sharing information with states, which they are not allowed to do. Now you think you're in a safe state, and come to find out the people who are in certain areas, yeah, not so much. Not so much. But it doesn't stop there. Because I could just go ahead and say that all of the GOP hates women. I really think they do. But let me tell you about this one. And I know you guys have heard about the young lady in Georgia who is brain dead, but she must carry the fetus to birth because of Georgia's abortion ban. So a pregnant woman in Georgia was declared brain dead after a medical emergency and has been kept on life support for 3 months by doctors to allow enough time for the baby to be born and comply with Georgia's strict anti-abortion law. The case is the latest consequence of abortion bans introduced in some states since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade 3 years ago. Adriana Smith, a 30-year-old mother and nurse, was declared brain dead, meaning she is legally dead in February. Now, the mother says her daughter had intense headaches more than 3 months ago, went to the hospital. She received medication. They sent her home. She woke up that night, gasping for air. Her boyfriend called for 911. She had blood clots in her brain. They declared her dead, but she's pregnant, 21 weeks pregnant. So removing the breathing tubes and other life-saving devices would likely kill the fetus. Now, the hospital has not responded to this article, and this is from PBS, I will say. But they did talk to the AG. Georgia's AG says, look, in this situation, she's brain dead. This is not the same thing. But Smith's family says that the Emory doctors have told them they are not allowed to stop or remove the devices that are keeping her breathing because of a provision in state law that bans abortion after cardiac activity can be detected. That's around 6-week pregnancy. And a lot of women don't even know that they are pregnant yet. They don't even know. So this law has kicked in and they're not even aware that they're even pregnant, right? Now, let's talk about who has the right to make these decisions. Monica Simpson, executive director of Sister Song, which is the lead plaintiff in a lawsuit against Georgia's strict abortion law, said that this is a problematic situation. Her family deserves the right to have decision-making power about her medical decisions. Instead, they have endured 90 days of re-traumatization, expensive medical costs, and the cruelty of being unable to resolve and move toward healing. But again, here comes this dude. It's always a dude. So Georgia State Senator Ed Seltzer, a Republican who sponsored the 2019 law, said he supported Emory's interpretation. I think it's completely appropriate that the hospital do what they can to save the life of the child. I think this is an unusual circumstance, but I think it highlights the value of innocent human life. I think the hospital is acting appropriately. I think there's a valuable human life that we have an opportunity to save, and I think it's the right thing to save it. I suggest otherwise, is to declare the child as being other than human. Now, he also said that the woman's relatives do have good choices, including keeping the child or offering it up for adoption. Now, Georgia has been here before because last year, ProPublica reported that 2 Georgia women died after they did not get proper medical treatment for complications from taking abortion pills. The stories of Amber Thurman and Candy Miller was in the presidential race because they died. Now, there are abortion bans in other states. Hello, we're back here in Texas. A decade ago, a brain-dead woman was kept on maintenance measures for about 2 months because she was pregnant. A judge eventually rules against the hospital for keeping her alive and followed the family's wishes. Now, there are 12 states enforcing abortion bans at all stages of pregnancy, with limited exceptions. Right? Again, last year, the Texas Supreme Court ruled unanimously against a group of women who challenged that state's abortion ban, saying that exceptions were being interpreted so narrowly that they were denied abortion access as they dealt with serious pregnancy complications. And again, as I mentioned, the Senate just passed a bill that seeks to clarify when abortions are allowed because, Now, we do know that the Supreme Court was supposed to hear arguments in December over whether the federal law requires hospitals to provide abortion in emergency medical situations. That is coming up in the coming months. But guess what? Do we have to wait for that? No, we don't really have to, because these people decided that we are going to revoke guidance requiring hospitals to provide emergency abortion. See, I don't understand. Like, do we believe that there is some sort of immaculate conception that happens, that if the mother dies, the kid's going to be here anyway? You don't have one without the other. As I said last year, you're going to let this ship just go down. And guess what? The baby goes with it. So now you have Georgia keeping this woman, and they're giving her hormones and all kinds of whatnot, trying to bring this baby to life because they're afraid of what might happen if they don't because of the law. But the AG has said this situation doesn't match that. The family should have a say, and the family has no say. It's just like, at what point do you realize how ridiculous this is? We talk about how much we want to protect women and how we love the mother, and it's about the family, and yet you treat the mother like she is just, a machine to give birth. There's no care or concern for her health, her wellness, none whatsoever. Make that make sense. Like, as if a woman's only job here is to provide life. And if she can't do that, then don't nobody want to deal with her. Or better yet, if she can't do that because she's brain dead, I'm going to work it out to where we can keep her alive long enough to bring this kid into the world, because it's about the kid. But we can't even get health care for our kids. You have people right now wanting to cut Medicaid. I'm sorry. What? We can't even get a living wage. Affordable housing. We can't get any of that, but we got to bring these babies into the world because we got to bring in some babies. You know, I don't even. Oh, Lord have mercy. Why? Let me tell you something. We have a voice. You have a voice. I have a voice. We need to talk more about it. We do. Make it make sense. Speak up about it and do what you have to do to protect you and your loved ones. I'm for all the parties being safe, but I'm not about to let the mother go down. Because if she's not here and the baby dies, then it's like, ugh. And we have seen that far too many times. Reproductive health care is more than just having a healthy pregnancy. There's a lot that goes on inside these bodies, and we are not one size fits all. Not even close. Not even close. But let me wrap this up. Let me wrap it up. Why don't I? I want to talk about a couple of things happening because we do have upcoming events, and I highly suggest you guys come out and hang with me on the Grow Bunch platform. We were talking yesterday. We were talking life forever. Started at 1:00. I believe we got out of our work and chill like almost 8:00. When we get to talking and working and vibing, we get to talking and working and vibing. So you want to show up. Now it is every Thursday, but I am there all the time. But we do what's called work and chill, work, connect, and thrive. You don't have to do it by yourself. You don't have to. If you're a solopreneur, a small business owner, you are a freelancer, or you just work at home. You work from home. You can tune in with us. Right? You can come in and out. If you got a phone call, we pop out, we pop in, but we're there. We don't have to walk through this world by ourselves, people. It ain't even necessary. Like, it's highly overrated. Next to that, we do have an event coming up June 19th, Sip and Sisterhood at 7 p.m. Central. We're having an unapologetic conversation about women creating genuine connections with women, because we got some work to do. I mean, like, really. But that's happening at 7 p.m. Central. So if you want to attend any of those events, you can go to the YouTube bio. There is a link to the link tree, and you can get yourself the little link to get yourself in there and show up. Now, before I let you guys go, I do want to talk about my friends at the conference call. They are doing a recap of RuPaul's All-Star Drag Race.
Hello, and this is the recap show. My name is Chris Edwards, and I'm here with my other two co-hosts.
I'm Ronald. TJ.
Yeah, and we do a recap show every week for Drag Race. We'd love for you to like our videos, subscribe, and to hit the notification button so you can get notified every time we drop new videos. Every week we bring you lots of fun commentary and our take on what Drag Race is. So just keep it locked here on the conference call every week. We drop new videos every Monday at noon. See you guys then.
Bye.
They are the best. Absolutely love them. And I have to give a shout out to Glimpse Optical for providing my super fire glasses. I mean, the collection is collecting. So you can book a risk-free consultation. You can go to glimpseopticalonline.com. And if you're in the DFW or Houston area, I am getting ready for the fall. So Photography by G, if you're getting your senior sessions, the fall family portraits, or you want to get ready for the holidays, do not wait till November. You're looking at September or October. I know it's kind of hot. I get it. But there are studio sessions, right? Like you got to be outside. But we want to make sure that everything is on the up and up next week. We're talking about, was it men? Right? Men. How men need new programming. Yes. And if you haven't already, to keep up with all the things, you can get on the GRH Jack email list where I have all the things provided for you. I will say this, man, we are almost through with me and my soapbox. Okay, those are lies. Those are lies I tell myself. Those are lies. We are going to talk about men and programming. We're going to talk about gender roles as well. It is going to continue. So we'll be here next Friday at 4:00. I was going to say same G channel, same G time. Okay, let me not do that. All right, I'm going to see you guys. Hey, it's G. Thank you for watching this episode of Girl Listen. Be sure to catch me every Friday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. And while you're here, I cordially invite you to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you all next week.